In chapter 37 of Emma realizes that whatever attachment she had to Frank has subsided, and she's completely over whatever crush she had on him. But she is still worried about their meeting on his behalf. When he comes down to Highbury to see her and his other acquaintances, she has no doubt as to his being less in love as well. Yet she senses some crisis is brewing. She just doesn't know what it is, how it will come, or what seems to be eating away at Frank. The Churchills move from London to Richmond because Mrs. Churchill cannot stand the noise of London. Frank will now only be 9 miles away from his friends. Meanwhile, in Highbury, preparations resume for the ball. In chapter 38 of Emma, it's the day of the ball, and Mrs. Elton claims the privilege of leading in the dancers with Mr. Weston. Mr. Knightley stands aside stoically, not interested in dancing, and watches Emma as she dances on the floor. And the narrator says his tall, firm, upright figure was such as Emma felt must draw everybody's eyes, and accepting her own partner, there was not one among the whole row of young men who could be compared to him. At one point, Harriet is awkwardly without a partner. Mrs. Weston sees Mr. Elton free and urges him to ask her to dance. Mr. Elton deliberately, rudely snubs Harriet, so Mr. Knightley comes to her rescue by dancing with her. Emma and Harriet are both grateful. When Mr. Knightley smiles at Emma whenever he catches her eye, the nonverbal communication that passes between them shows how much they are in sympathy. Could it be that Emma is slowly coming to terms with her feelings for Mr. Knightley? Later, Mr. Knightley reminds Emma that she ridiculously wanted Mr. Elton to marry her friend. Emma says, "Does my vain spirit ever tell me I am wrong?" Mr. Knightley answers that her serious spirit keeps her on track. He also allows that Harriet has some first-rate qualities, which Mrs. Elton is totally without. Character growth is displayed here as Emma admits how wrong she was about Mr. Elton, and Mr. Knightley admits that Harriet is a better woman than he gave her credit for. Emma points out that they are not brother and sister, and they ought to dance, so the two dance together.